Watch a JBV Ministries project, The Jeffrey B. Valentine Show, talk show with Pastor Jeff, airing on CW17 every Sunday at 5:30 a.m.
Shalom, and thank you for tuning in. Yes, my ladies, my guests, we are still here. We are talking about domestic violence. I wanted to read some information to you guys. Worldwide, men who were exposed to domestic violence as children are 3 to 4 times more likely to be the aggressor. They are more likely to be one who's in domestic violence. Kind of sad, isn't it? Mm-hmm. They say that our children mimic their parents, right? Mm-hmm. They also say a woman is beaten every 9 seconds in the United States.
Wow.
Every 9 seconds. Intimate partner violence is the leading cause of female homicide and injury-related death during pregnancies. Sylvia, these numbers are staggering. Mm-hmm. And what's sad about it, Jewel, that is happening next door.
Right.
But I know we heard part of Jewel's testimony last week. Come on, share your testimony with us.
Well, I was kind of like the prodigal daughter who left home, wanted to experience the world. I married a man that I thought was a Christian man, but he was not. I'm not going to say that he wasn't a Christian. He didn't practice Christianity, if I would say that, because he did believe in God. I thought he was saved, but just to make a long story short, after we were married, that's when my issues started.
So you met him when you was a young adult teenager?
I was like 19.
19.
Mm-hmm.
So you met him courtship, no red flags, no anything.
But I moved in with him, and I think I shared that on the last portion of the show. Mm-hmm. I moved in with him prior to getting married.
Okay.
So I probably lived with him half of a year before we got married. We got married a year after we started dating.
So once y'all got married, you moved in with him. All right. Then
I moved in with him first, and then we got married.
Then you got married. Mm-hmm. When did you start noticing the change in him?
Well, it's right after, well, not with the violence, but right after we got married, a young lady got in contact with me and told me that he had been seeing her throughout the whole course of our relationship.
Wow, so before the marriage?
Yeah, that started first.
Now, Julie, is it usually that when the control takes place, does it start off with finance? Or does it start off with something like either with the kids, or he trying to pick out something to be controlled and he just build on top of that?
I believe it does start out with things. It can be finances. It also can be with him was just trying to get back and redevelop my relationship with my parents. He felt that was stupid. Well, they put you out. They didn't want you to stay there. Why would you accept them back? And that's where he started trying to control me being around them more so as, like I said, it started being mental. It was like a mental thing with him. Like, they didn't love you. They put you out. They only want to talk to you now, because you're reaching out to them. But they don't really care about you.
Wow. So, Sylvia, after y'all got married, you moved in before marriage.
Right.
And when did you notice the change? I know I cut you off.
Well, after the situation with the young lady, I was leaving because I'm originally from California. Jacksonville is my mom's hometown, and then my grandfather and all of them. So I was leaving to come here.
So did you decide to come to Jacksonville after the young lady?
Yes.
Okay.
And
so you saying it was done?
Right.
With? Okay.
Right. And he just said that to show me that he wanted to make the marriage work, that he wanted to come along. So we came to Jacksonville for a fresh start. And coming...
Wait, I'm hearing you correctly. He moved from California.
Right, yes. He's a native from California. So he'd never been to Florida. So me thinking, and I think I heard Jules say, we always think that we could love a person and do more. And I'm thinking, well, wow, he's making a sacrifice. So
Right.
he's going to move to Jacksonville with me. That must mean that he does want to work on the marriage.
Right.
So when we moved here, it was worse because now I'm really the only person that you technically know. So he became very controlling, very jealous, like with my cousins, family members. You wanted to isolate me from my family. You clock the time when I get off work to come home, all kind of stuff.
Wait a minute.
Oh, yes.
He timed you.
The first time that he ever hit me is because I was late coming home from work. That's when it started. He slapped me. And he slapped me in my grandmother's house.
And what is late? Well, it doesn't matter.
Well,
but
I mean,
it doesn't matter. The
I didn't
time.
work too far away from the house, but I didn't come straight home. I mean, I went to the store. So he was like, "Why didn't you come straight home? Where have you been?"
And he decided that he had to put his hands on
He
you.
slapped me. And I realized then, this is how I knew that this was not the first time that he did this, is because right after he slapped me, he was like, well, just go get some alcohol and wipe it on your face. So, I mean, for you to say that.
Right.
So
Like
that
he knew what to do to get rid of the bruise
So it
before
don't bruise,
before
right.
it don't bruise.
Well, with me,
That's why.
by me being darker toned, I did have bruises later on, but when he slapped me, it was more of swelling.
It's swelling.
Wow.
And for those of you that are listening,
Yes.
if a man or even a woman, because it's twofold with abuse, if someone hits you one time, they're going to hit you again. It's not going to be a one-time situation. And you can ask any woman, even outside of Jewel and I, if you accept it that one time, that means that you're going to accept it more and more, and the violence
gets
progress. It doesn't get easier, like, okay, the first time it's a slap, or no, let's say the first time it's a push, or the first time could be calling you out your name. The more you stay in the relationship,
The more aggressive he
and according to your statistics, it shows that, because if you get slapped, the next time you might get punched. Me, I remember getting beat so bad one time I was beat to the ground, and I was literally covering my head because he was kicking me in the head with his work boots on.
So what would you say right there as we dive in more into your testimony? What would you share with our viewers? What would they do? What should they do if they get hit the first time?
Me, I'm going to tell you, as a woman of God who believes in the institution of marriage and everything, and this is me, a lot of people may not agree with me because, even when I sought counseling, after the numerous times that I went through it, I would say to stay and pray. But here it is. I believe that God released me because I got a peace about leaving, and I had been praying to God, asking to get out of the situation. I would always tell someone, if someone hits you the first time, that is your exit plan.
Right.
You agree with that, Joe?
Yes.
I don't care. I
No.
stayed because of stability.
And that's one of the things that being, the aggressive, that who gonna take care of you?
Well, and
Well-
and we have a 2 income. Both of us made good. We had a house, like she said, nice car, clothes. I mean, we looked the part.
So you don't want to be alone? What you saying?
Me, I didn't want to be alone. I didn't want my son to be in a one-parent home. I didn't want to be a single parent, and I didn't want to struggle.
Exactly.
But the crazy part about it is when I got the release, I still had to go from nothing to build back up. And if I had to go back and go through that again, Pastor Jeff, I would accept that weight on me, because it has given me an opportunity to first appreciate life and then to be able to help other people. And it gave me strength, and it really developed a strong prayer life. Now I really know God because of how he delivered me.
You want to add to that, Anju?
I don't know if I would want to go through it again.
I don't want to go through it again now. But I said if I would go back and say, I said I don't want to go through it again, Lord.
No.
But what I'm asking is I think that the abuser should separate themselves from their environment.
Yes, but they're never the ones. I had to leave my home. I left my home and had to start over and left him there. When I left with clothes in a Glad bag. That's all I had was my clothes, my son and our clothes. That's it. I had no roof over my head. Matter of fact, I stayed on my friend's sofa until I went to the Hubbard House here and stayed in the shelter for battered women. And that was my mom's advice, because I had been so many death threats, all kind of stuff. So they were concerned about my life, and he was looking for me at family members' house. They always go to familiar places to see if they can locate you, especially if they know your routine.
Wow. We talk about domestic violence. We got to take a break. We'll be right back.
Keeping it pure, FM 103.7 and AM 1320.
Welcome back to the show. Listen, check this out. Women who are victims of domestic violence are 8 times more likely to be killed by an intimate partner if there are firearms in the home. Now this got me serious. Black women experience intimate partner violence at rate 35% higher than white women.
Mm.
Those are some numbers for you. But as we were talking earlier, as y'all was sharing y'all testimony, and I want to dive back into your testimony where we left off. Mm-hmm. But briefly, what would you share to, I know someone is watching, mm-hmm. because as I was sharing with someone, like I said, some of my pastors, some of my friends, they say they should be on the top of the list.
That's right.
But what would you say to someone right now who's been watching for the past couple of weeks, if they in that situation, and they feel all alone, then nobody won't pay no, would not. But first of all, is it believable when you tell someone about what you're going through? Do you fear that they would not believe you because of who the person are?
Oh, most definitely. And then if a person has won someone else's trust, there's always 2 sides of a story, so they're going to paint the picture like it's on the other person. But if you're watching this show at this time and you're in this situation, if you're in Jacksonville or even the surrounding areas, I'm going to ask that you get in contact with a law enforcement officer and be escorted to the Hubbard House, which is a safe haven. I stayed there. That was my safe haven. Nobody knows where it is, but law enforcement. Staying there first gives you the security to know that you won't be harmed. It's a safe haven. And then you're going to get the proper counseling that you need. You don't have to worry about bills. They have things to help you get apartments, clothes, everything. It was the best decision that I ever made. I was able to stay there for like 6 months. I was working, saved up money, and able to take care of myself. The Hubbard House is a safe haven.
So the support group there is pretty strong?
Oh, yes, yes, sir.
What about the
confidentiality? It is, to me, that would be the best place for anybody versus confiding even in a friend or a family member.
Really?
Oh, most definitely. And the reason why I say that is because the people there, first of all, they don't know you. Who are they going to talk to and tell? Yeah. And their allegiance is to the Hubbard House and making sure that you are safe.
So I'm sure they probably have accountability and responsibility.
And your kids can come. They have a place for your kids. They can go to school, everything. It's really a community at that time to help first. You have to change your way of thinking, because if you don't see yourself being strong, you'll always be a victim. You know, I'm not a victim. I'm victorious. I used to be a victim because I was in that situation. But once God delivered me out of that, I'm no longer a victim. And that's why we're here with Pastor Jeff today, to shed light. And it is my prayer that somebody listening to this broadcast would be compelled to look in your surroundings and see right now, this is not how God designed for your life to be.
That's right. Amen. Amen. Prophetess Walker, one of the things that I know the abuser, the aggressor, use that who's going to take care of you, who's going to provide for you and the kids, is because if you keep running, your finance situation is not going to be there.
I had nothing. I mean, with tears in my eyes, I think about it. It's really weird because I haven't really shed tears in a long time about it. But when I look at what I did not have, I had nothing. I left the cars, because even my grandmother, who was a wise woman, she says anything attached to him gives him the authority to still bother you. So if you take a car, you got to worry about him coming to get it. You know?
So detach yourself.
You have to completely detach yourself. You have to
add?
Well, my situation was different.
Did you have to completely detach yourself to get away from it?
Well, but she had
I
kids.
went to prayer. And
She had kids. I had my son prior to getting with my ex-husband.
Okay, so you had kids with
From him.
I had 3 kids with him. My situation was pretty different. At that time, he was fighting a case. He was going back and forth to court. And at that moment, when I decided to leave, it was because he was trying to kill me that particular day. It was like Labor Day weekend. And I remember because it was like everybody was gone. I didn't go to family reunion. I stayed in Jacksonville. He thought my brother left, but my brother wasn't gone. I was here. And he tried to kill me in front of my children. And I remember going to this little church right down the street from my house. And I told this, I believe, on when we was on the radio some weeks back, that he had choked me with a clothesline in front of my children. And to the point, I wanted to die. I really did. I wanted to die that day. I really did. But when I seen my kids, I had to live. And I remember my son hitting him as hard as he could with this big branch he got off the ground. And I remember he let me go and he hit my son. And all I remember doing was just jumping up, running with my daughter. And we ran to this small church down the street. And I remember going in the church, and it was like maybe 4 or 5 people in there. They was having, I guess, Bible study, I'm not sure. And we went and sat on the back pew. And I remember praying. And I was like, God, if you get me out of this, I ain't never going back. I ain't never going back. And I remember going home from the church. And my face was really, really bad off. And my neck was really, really, it was bleeding and everything, because it was a wire clothing line. And I remember getting in the car because he was like, go get me some beer and this. And I was like, well, I want to take a bath first. Let me clean up. No, you going looking like that and this and that, whatever. So he wanted me to go looking like that. Okay, that's fine. So I leave. I went to, I guess, to a convenience store off of Pritchard Road. And I remember locking the car door, and I said, Jada, we're not going back. I'm not ever going back. And I called my brother. I left the car running. I left everything in the car and locked the door. And I called my brother, and I was like, come get me. And I told him what happened. So, of course, my brother came, and his friends came and got me. And they took me to his house. And I remember my son was at the house, and my brother was really outraged because this is the first time he really seen me like that.
Abused.
Like
that.
Really, I mean, I was really, really bad off. Like, my whole face was just messed up. And it was the first time he really seen me look like that. And I remember they went back to the house. They was going to shoot my house up. They like he was that rage. But I thank God that it didn't happen, because I didn't want my brother to lose his life over something like that, because God had other plans for him. So we wound up going to stay with him. Then I guess the court called my ex-husband at the time, and he had to go to court like that Thursday, and they was trying to give him 15 years.
So y'all did call 911.
No, he was in a whole nother case.
So he was dealing with something totally different.
Totally, something totally
And because of the other case,
I was able to get out. I remember talking to my dad, and he was like, well, what you want to happen? And I remember praying, and I said, Dad, I was like, God gotta get me out, because if not, I'm going to go to prison, because I'm going to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'm going to kill him, I'm going to kill him, I'm going to kill him. And then I told my dad, I was like, but if God can get me out, he like, well, what you want him to do? So we can pray. We in total agreements. What you want to pray? I said, God got to take him far away from me so I can live. Because I didn't see if we broke up or anything, because I kept going back so many years that I was like, he gotta be gone, like gone. And I remember he wound up going to court, and they sentenced him, and they took him that day. And that was the first
How
day.
many years did he get?
He had 3 years.
Oh, look at God. That was God.
Yeah, that was
He got
God.
3 years.
That was God.
And that day was the first day that I felt that I was living. I didn't know what to do with myself, because I was so used to the chaos and the just living a troubled life. I was so confused with like being normal. I would wake up and say, what is normal? Like, what do normal people do? Because in my house, we argue, we fight from the time you wake up. Like, the peacefulest time is when you sleep. Unless you've been beaten out your sleep or, drug out the house for whatever, or get thrown out in the middle of the night. That's, other than that, what's normal? I didn't know what normal was.
Did you see the kids responding in their action? Were they acting out because of what was taking place with you and your ex-husband?
Yeah, my kids was trouble kids in school.
I can't imagine.
They did have good grades. It's just their attitudes was troubling. It got to a point, like I said, my son and my youngest daughter were up underneath me a lot. My oldest daughter kind of was like up under his mom until she passed in 2006, I apologize. And then it was like I became a single mom, so I had to learn how to re-nourish my kids and to show them a different life without all the drama. Mm-hmm. And when I was like a year into it, I was just like, my kids would say, Mom, why you need to leave a long time ago? We could have did this. We could have did this together without my dad. Why we didn't do this a long time ago? But I was like, I just wanted y'all to have what I had. Right. A 2-parent home, my kids. I didn't know what a single mom was. I didn't know how to do that. And like I said, I was believing all the lies that was told to me throughout the years, that even if I leave, I'm never going to be happy with somebody else, because he's going to,
that's one of the things that they use.
Yeah, he's going to be interfering, and then this person probably going to end up in jail because they're going to be trying to defend me, but he's going to always be there or whatever. Even when he got out of prison, I remember my son talked to him and was like, look, if you ever put your hands on my mom again, I'll kill you.
Wow. We're talking about domestic violence. We'll be right back.
Men's Closet has the largest selection of suits, shoes, outfits, and accessories. Save money on the latest styles from the top name brands with 2 suits for $100. Boys sets are starting at $24.99. We specialize in wedding attire, clergy robes, casual wear, and big men's sizes. Men's Closet carries sizes up to 8X and suits up to 72 long. Come see what's new at Men's Closet, located on Lem Turner Road, I-295, exit 32.
Watch a JBV Ministries project, the Jeffrey B. Valentine Show talk show with Pastor Jeff, airing on CW17 every Sunday at 5:30 a.m.
Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Sister Woods and Prophetess Walker. We're talking about domestic violence. One thing I can say or share with you guys, that if you are in that environment, if you are experiencing a lifestyle of being abused, if you have someone that's being aggressive, I don't care with finance, verbal abuse, or even physical, remove yourself from that situation and get help. If you've been watching for the past couple weeks, you're not alone. And believe it or not, I don't care what that aggressor say to you. Somebody love you.
Yes.
And somebody do care. Amen.
Amen.
Prophetess Walker, encourage someone in the last couple minutes.
I just want to speak to that person that is possibly even crying right now and contemplating in their head their next move. My word for you today would be to pray and ask God to give you wisdom and a safe escape route.
Amen.
A safe escape route means that you're going to escape safely and not wounded. And you're going to make it. You're going to call the number on the screen that Pastor Jeff had, and then you're going to reach out to a law enforcement officer and get escorted to the Hubbard house. Don't let material possessions cost you your life.
Say that again.
Don't let material possessions cost you your life.
Amen.
People lose stuff all the time, but I tell you one thing, to lose is to gain. Look at Christ. He lost his life and then he regained it so that we would be free to come and even speak to you. He saved us. He delivered us. Yes. God has no respect of person. I want you to live. And thank you so much for the opportunity to share.
Oh no, like I said, God had put this in my spirit for a while now. And now I believe in divine connection.
Yes.
Amen.
And you will hear more on this program about domestic violence. This is the way that I use this platform to be a blessing.
Amen.
Not only into the body of Christ, but into the community.
Yes.
That we love you.
Yes.
And God loves you.
Yes.
Sister Will, would you like to share with them?
Yes. I would also say to you that there is hope. You will have life after this. Yes, it feels like hell, but know that God don't want you to be in hell. He has love for you. There's people out here that love you, don't even know you, but willing to give you everything you need as far as support, being there for you mentally, physically, financially. Like Sylvia Walker was saying, that, reach out. There are different organizations out here that's willing to provide for you, to help you, and also that you can be able to love your children outside of this hurt and the pain, and your kids will be all right as well if you reach out and you find a church home that's able to bring you closer to God. If you don't know who God is, I want you to seek out a good church home so you can find out who God is, so that he can restore and that he can heal those wounds that are deeply cut, because it's not always the physical, it's mostly mental and emotional that does last the longest.
Ladies, real quick, in about 15-30 seconds, is there life after this?
Oh yes.
Oh yes.
Yes, it
Oh, you
is.
see that smile?
Yes.
Listen, we love you. We have to go, but again, we love you.
Yes.
Repent for your sin, because Christ loves you, and he will meet you right there where you are.
Amen.
Love isn't love until you give it away. May God bless you. Manifold blessing. I see you next week. God bless.